Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for those of you who've already joined. We were going to get started in about 1 to 2 minutes just to allow more people to join. But thank you for hanging tight and being here on time. We'll get started momentarily. Hi again, everyone. Hopefully you all hear me okay. If I can just have you type in the chat that yes, you can hear me, that would be wonderful. I want to make sure you're all with me. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon or this morning, evening, wherever you may be. My name is Jessica Stern. I am the Director of Graduate Recruitment at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. I am joined today by some of my colleagues like Ray and Julie, as well as a few of our current students that you'll have a chance to hear from later today, as well as the department chair for the Mork Family Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science. Dr. Hodge is here with us today, so you will get to hear from her as well. Hi, Professor Hodge. I don't see anything in the chat just yet, but I'd love to know where you all are joining us from. Are you able to enter anything in the chat? Perhaps not. In that case, just be aware that we do also have the Q&A function available. If you have questions throughout the course of this webinar, you're welcome to put your questions there. We will address questions directly to Professor Hodge, as well as our advisor, Brenda, who's here with us today, as well as some of the current students during the panel portion. But for now, I just want to give you a brief introduction, some resources and next steps now that you've been admitted to the University of Southern California. Before I turn it over to the department. So first and foremost, congratulations to all of you on your admission to USC and to the School of Engineering in particular. This is no easy feat. This was a very, very competitive pool of applicants that we had this year. So all of you are obviously exceptionally talented, and we are so happy and excited to welcome you to USC this fall. I am going to, as I mentioned, give you a little bit of an overview about some of the considerations that may already be on your mind as you are considering your graduate school options, as well as some next steps to help you be a little bit closer to your time here at USC this fall. So as you all are considering what grad school or whatever your next plans may be, these are just some of the factors we know play a role in your decision. So you may be thinking about, how will this university help you achieve your career and your academic goals? Will the location be the right fit for you, both in terms of the opportunities it affords you for your career, but also just is it a place where you can see yourself living and being happy? What is the strength of the alumni network of the graduate schools that you are considering? We know often with graduate school, alumni can play a very important role in helping you kind of get a shoe-in to the industry that you're interested in or to a company that you might be interested in working in. And then, of course, research. Many of you may be interested in engaging in research in one way or another. So you may be wondering, what does that look like at USC or at some of the other schools you may be considering? And we hope that after today's webinar, you will have a better idea of what that looks like specifically in the Mork Family Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science. When we think about the location of where you will be studying, so USC is located in downtown Los Angeles. And if any of you have not yet been to LA, I'm sure you at least have some ideas of what it's like here. We generally have incredible weather, which unfortunately we're not seeing so much of today, but more or less we have a really wonderful moderate climate that keeps us very happy. But we also are a hub for international trade and business, in innovation and so much more. In addition to downtown LA, we have beaches, we have mountains, and no shortage of things to do. Kind of pictured here, you see something that we call Silicon Beach, which is not too far from where we are. So this is about a 30-minute or so drive from where USC campus is located. And Silicon Beach is really an ecosystem of more than 500 startups, as well as branch offices of a lot of tech companies that are headquartered in Silicon Valley. So it's a bustling space for the tech industry, for entrepreneurship in general. And USC has a very significant role and contribution to Silicon Beach, which you see highlighted by ISI and ICT. These are two pretty renowned research institutes housed at the University of Southern California. But we bring this up so that you kind of have a good sense of the activity and opportunities available in Los Angeles, but this is just a snapshot. LA hires more engineers than any other city in the United States. And it is also a growing area for fields like biotechnology, bioengineering, construction, healthcare, and so much more. And we want to make sure you're aware of the opportunities that are available to you in our location for your specific discipline. And there are many ways that you can kind of explore that. We want you to be aware that we have the Viterbi Career Connections office at the School of Engineering at USC, and they are completely dedicated to supporting our engineering students to help them achieve their career goals, whether that's through internships or jobs while they're students or upon graduating. Often when you think of career services and career centers at universities, I know the first visual you might have perhaps is like recruitment events. So we do have two major recruitment events, one in fall and one in spring, when prospective employers come and meet with our students and kind of, get a feel if they might be a good fit for any vacant positions. But we do want you to know that there is so much more to what Viterbi Career Connections offers than just our Career and Internship Expo. They offer a very robust calendar of events as well as workshops to help you really take advantage of the connections that USC has with industry, with its own alumni, and also really leverage your own skills to put yourself out there and present the best version of yourself. So that might be through workshops related to your interview skills, just getting your resume the way it should be to really stand out, and so much more. So please be aware that there's tons of ways that you can take advantage of the resources and support by Career Connections when you're a student here. These are just some more examples of the kinds of programs that the Viterbi Career Connections puts on. The academic department itself may invite people from industry to come in and meet with students as well, and we can talk about that later. But here's just, again, a snapshot generally of the kinds of events we put on. The Trek is an interesting one where students actually got to visit various companies and attend information sessions. They can meet with alumni and do mock interviews as well. So tons of ways that you can kind of improve your profile for your career opportunities. If you are interested to see the kinds of jobs and companies where students from your program are working in upon graduation, you can do that by checking out the USC Engineer website and going specifically to the webpage for your program. So that could be chemical engineering or materials science or materials engineering. Once you go on that program page and click career outcomes, you will see a specific snapshot of companies and positions where graduates from your program are working. So definitely check that out. Another consideration you may have is the community, and it's a very, very important one. We want you to know that we have a very tight-knit, even though it's large, community at USC and at the Viterbi School. This is a community that comes from more than 100 countries around the world and virtually every state in the United States. Here at USC in one place. So we want you to know, no matter what your interests are, what your background is, we do want you to find a home here and find your own community here. And we help facilitate that through a variety of student services and support and programming and student organizations. And we really just want to help connect you to all of those resources and wonderful people so that you know you have, especially for those of you who are moving to Los Angeles from so far away, you definitely have a home in the community here. There are a lot of ways that you can also engage in student life. So we know you will be in a very rigorous program, but also it is important that you find some balance and that you make the most of the community here at USC. And one of the ways that you can do that is, for example, once you become a student, you can follow and Engage SC, which is an app that shows you all of the events, not just at Viterbi, but across the university that you might be interested in participating in, as well as organizations and communities based on, political interests or recreational or virtually everything under the sun that might sound exciting to you. We also have the Viterbi Graduate Student Association, which is one of the largest student organizations at USC that you're welcome to join, and so much more. We have a few more photos just to show you what campus life might look like. It could be a tailgate, it could be joining the racing club. You have our Trojan marching band and orientation here. We have concerts on campus. It's a very vibrant campus with always something going on. I wanted you to be aware too, we have a mentorship program. So once you submit your statement of intent, once you've decided you do want to come to USC, you will get access to information about Viterbi's mentorship program. And essentially this pairs you with a currently enrolled graduate student in Viterbi who will show you the ropes and can be there for you as a friend and as a guide. Sometimes questions come up, when the system is different, the school is new, you might not know who to ask for something. This is when mentors play just such a wonderful role in helping you navigate life at USC. So I do encourage you all to join this program if you do decide to come to USC. And we do have a QR code here if you'd like more information about it. In terms of how to accept your admission offer and when to do so, please check your USC portal. That's the YOUSC portal where you access your admission letter. There you will find the deadline to accept or decline your admission offer by submitting the statement of intent and commitment deposit. Please check the deadline that's listed in your portal to be sure when you must submit that. For most of you, it will be April 15th or May 1st. If any of you are pursuing the program online, there may be a later deadline. So please double check the USC portal. The sooner you submit your statement of intent, the sooner you will have access to a lot of great resources related to orientation, the mentorship program. We'll do additional academic webinars where you can meet your advisors and kind of have an understanding of how course registration works and so much more, and also start exploring some housing options here in LA. If any of you are international students, you may already know that there is a new system at USC for submitting your financial documents. This is a required, very important step in order for you to be able to start your visa process and get the documents that you need for that. So please be on the lookout for communication about this. You can also scan the QR code here for more information. I will make sure everyone who attends will get a copy of this presentation. We will have a recording available as well. These are just additional resources for you to check out if you want to take a virtual tour of our campus, see all those student organizations that I referenced, learn a little bit more about safety and wellness at USC, as well as our international support services. We also have a wonderful ambassador program. These are current graduate students within the Viterbi School of Engineering who are so enthusiastic about USC and have made themselves available to chat directly with you. We do have some ambassadors joining us today who will be part of the panel later on in the session. So please know that you can connect with them directly through our website, through the QR code here on a platform known as Unibuddy. I highly recommend this option. I'm leaving my contact information here, but I don't want to waste any more time because we're so lucky to have Professor Hodge here with us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just say that Professor Hodge is the chair of the Mork Family Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science. She is a professor of Chemical Engineering and Material Science, as well as Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Professor Hodge, to speak to the group.
All right. Hello. Good morning, afternoon, or evening with whatever you're watching us from. So I have been at USC 15 years. I am actually a metallurgist. So that means I mostly work with metals. And we do metals for space exploration. So I'm here kind of to maybe not talk about the logistics of living in LA, but more like the logistics of taking classes in that department, navigating the department, what kind of activities we have in our department, faculty, research areas, what are the opportunities for master's students to engage with faculty and be part of the community. And so I'd be very happy to talk about that. I want to make you aware of our website, which we'll be working quite a bit on. For those of you who have questions, so I'm looking at the website right now. So you can go to USC and look at for Mork Family Department or USC MFD, so M as in Mary, F, D. And then in there, you will see our department webpage. And so for those of you who are interested or want more information in the specific classes and electives and things like that, at least to get a glimpse, I suggest you go into our website and then go into, it says about research people, academics, and then there's academics, and it has undergraduate, master's program, PhD programs. Under the master's programs, it has chemical engineering, material science, and petroleum engineering. And in there, you will find the class requirements, as well as the electives and the unit requirements, just to give you a good sense before you talk to an advisor or so you can see the variety of classes that you will be able to take. Also, if you want to know more about the people, you can go into people and go into faculty. And then there you have different options. So you can see the teaching faculty, the tenure track faculty, or you can look us up by research areas. So there's 5 research areas that we have. So sustainability and responsible energy, improving health and wellness, harnessing data science and machine learning, designing quantum materials and systems, and developing advanced materials and manufacturing. So if you want to look at by area, if you want to look by faculty, you're welcome to do so. And that actually provides we've been updating it very recently to make sure that it provides the latest information, and it can kind of show you who teaches the class, or you can go to the USC schedule of classes and then look also the faculty who's teaching the class, both for the required courses and the electives. And so what can I say about the department? I have a few, I don't want to show you slides, but I want to tell you a little bit about it. So we are 27 faculty, tenure track faculty, and then we also have 3 teaching faculty, which are here full time. We have overall for students, we have about 100 or so PhD students. We have about 140 master students, and then about 130 undergraduate students, just to give you a flavor or who's in the department. So the master students are definitely a core of our department and are well integrated into our classes. So the students, again, go into either a chemical engineer track or the material science with machine learning track, or the petroleum track. So those are kind of the tracks that we have. I know a lot of people get worried, did I get in the right track? Am I in the right track? So some of it can also be changed once you're in, because you're already accepted. So for example, and I'm going to talk about material science because that's the one I know the most. If you enter the material science and then you want to do material science with machine learning, If you do it early on, there's really no penalty or anything because you get those classes early on, and then we can match it so you don't have to take extra classes. If you would like to do additional programs, or if you like to connect with faculty in other ways, there are events throughout the year through ACHI, so that's the American Chemical Society, the student organization here, MRS, the Materials Research Society, a student organization on campus, and they try to help connect with the faculty, so you can find about also research opportunities if you're interested in, and then also kind of like meet and chat, talk about classes and things that you can connect with. That's about as much as I want to say, so I can leave it up open for questions.
Thank you so much, Professor Hodge. I do want to invite our participants, if you have any specific questions, feel free to enter them into the Q&A. I know some of you actually submitted some questions when you registered for this. So if you don't mind, Professor Hodge, I'll direct some to you.
Okay.
I saw some students wanted to learn kind of what you just touched on, just ways that they can get involved in research as master's students. Could you kind of share some of that?
So a lot of students, so for example, in about the first week of April, our ACHI chapter they having actually a meet and greet professors for research purposes. So they have an event open to bachelor's and master's students to come and meet faculty, or at least learn about research in different groups in the department and who is taking in students for the research for the next semester. So that's one easy way to connect. Another one is the people actually you're taking classes with. A lot of the faculty will be saying, I may want a student for this a smaller project, or I want a student, or so-and-so is looking for a student. So there's various ways to connect. We also have a lot of events to connect faculty to students. So we will have a welcome event right at the beginning of the year. That's mostly just like ice cream and cookies, and all the faculty go. I mean, this last year, we had 20 of the 27 faculty present, and we were there for 3 hours, kind of just talking to the students, kind of meet and greet. And then, people just come and like, hey, are you taking a student? Hey, are you looking for this? Oh, I'm interested in this. Is there a class? And so connect with the students. That's one way to do it. We also have a big holiday event, which happens in December. And again, that's all of our students. All of our events are for all of our students, so undergraduate, master's, and PhD students with the faculty. So we have about 4 events a year, which is all students with the faculty, to give a chance for students to connect. One-on-one, you can send emails. Sometimes those are effective, sometimes they're not as effective, but it really helps to have that connection. Like in March 31st, we have in our research symposium. So some of the presentations, they're also from our master students that are working in faculty groups. So there's that opportunity as well. We will have about 200 attendees, and there's people in chemical engineering, material science, and petroleum, undergrad, master students, and PhDs, showing and highlighting the research to alumni and to current students and faculty. And again, so that will be 5 events then when we all come together, and really highlight and gives a chance, because we want to make sure you have a lot of opportunities to present, build that CV, whether you are trying to go to graduate school or basically additional skills because you want to enhance your undergraduate portfolio to get a job. So depends on what you want to do, but I think that being in face with the faculty helps quite a bit. And faculty also sometimes post things on their website, or we send blasts to all the grad students and say, hey, so-and-so is looking for a student. For example, we have a new professor, Professor Lee, and he does DFT theory. So he's looking for a computational driven student. And as he starts his group, the 2 first people that he has in his group are 2 master students. So they actually started with him about 3 weeks ago, and they're already working on a project. He currently does not have PhD students because he just started. So from the class, he went and talked to the classes that have many of the master students and asked who would be interested. And he took 2 of those students to work on a small project doing simulations.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I think oftentimes people have the perception, since USC is a pretty large university, that am I going to be a small fish in a big pond? But I think you just highlighted so many ways that the students can connect and really get to know their faculty and have that kind of a close-knit environment within the department.
absolutely. Oh, so our department is not a huge department, so we do get to know everybody between all the events and the seminars and things like that. So it's not, we know who's in here, who know who our students are, and the students know each other, which is important.
Definitely. Another question that a student submitted is how much, is there any machine learning that's integrated in the curriculum in any of the programs?
Absolutely. So we actually have the first material science with machine learning program in the country. It launched 2 years ago. It's under the Master's in Material Science. And so there's 2 tracks there. And so we have actually machine learning and data science classes for chemical engineering, material science, and petroleum. Actually, there's about 12 classes in the department that are available to master's and PhD students to take, depending of whether you want to have a general information about machine learning, or if you really want to dive deep into it in the context of what we actually do in the department. So it's not machine learning for a computer scientist, it's a machine learning from someone in this department. So the data mining, the data science for people in petroleum, that's specifically designed. What do you do with that kind of data? How do you do machine learning with that kind of data? For material science, there's actually a class, MASC 520, that's actually for both chemical and material science students. That's one of the classes that we have that is general, like deep learning, mathematics, for machine learning for both majors. And then there's a couple of different classes in more like introduction to machine learning, again, for people in this department, and then a couple of classes in computational methods, and again, a few more in data science.
Thank you. Let's see what else. What resources do you recommend that are underused?
I think that, when, again, these events are great and we put a lot of effort and money to have these events, and it's always the same people showing up. And so if you really want to connect to faculty and things, I think these are great events. I think as people don't take advantage of our research symposium as much, we would love to highlight some of the projects, let's say the master students do, even in the class, because they have to develop this a machine learning algorithm, or they have a whole class project. Those would be things that are totally appropriate for our research symposium. And so I think that the master students can take some more initiative and really participate more, to take the ownership and their place as one of the big groups in the department. I think those connections with faculty are very important, whether it's letters of recommendation for jobs or graduate school. And so coming to those events, I always see the same people. And so, but that's not all the people. So we also have coffee mornings with donuts and things like that. But again, it's the same people that come. And so they really get the most out of the event. They really get the most out of the connections. But we want everybody to do that because it's open to everyone. So definitely being present and being active. That's how you build your community and your long-term, your long-term connections to USC and to your field.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the alumni from the department, either anecdotally or based on any data that you've collected? Do many end up pursuing PhD programs, or do they go into industry? What are some common paths for students who graduate from these programs?
So from my perspective, so I had several master's students that work in my group, either in nano indentation or doing we were working with the professor that teaches machine learning, introduction to machine learning, and a master's student to do experiments and machine learning. A lot of students, I would say at least a third, are trying to go to graduate school and pursue a PhD program. Or while they're here, they decide they want to do a PhD program. I almost said that's a good third of the students. And some students want it specifically to work. And I will say those are 2/3, but about 1/3 is thinking and is going to PhD school. And then the other ones go to various industries. There's some overlap. Some students want to do more in the machine learning part or the environmental side. It's still between their major and kind of enhancing their skills. So we do have material scientists going to chemical engineering, chemical engineers going to material science, and kind of expanding those things depending on what expertise they want to enhance and what kind of industry they want to go into.
Great. Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions for Professor Hodge before we move on to the student panel portion of today's session? Oh, I see something in the Q&A. Are master's students able to transfer to the PhD program?
Some do. So in these, for example, in these, what is it called? In 2023, when we did our admissions, I think there were three master's students from our current master's program that were accepted and given fellowships to go into the PhD program here. And those students were ones that were working with faculty already that connected it to many of these events. It's not tons, but it is, it's a few. So we graduate about, 50, 60 master's students every year. So about, a couple of them come here and as PhD students, more apply, but some of them don't have that connection with the faculty, so it's a little bit hard. But they also, some of them, we have two other ones that are going into mechanical engineering and one person going to civil to work on subsurface engineering. So, I mean, not everybody comes to this department, but there are our master students in this department.
That's very cool. I do want to point out, like on the admissions perspective, you just do still need to formally apply for the PhD program, even if you are currently enrolled as a master's student. But Professor Hodge brought up a lot of good points that as a current student, you have a lot of advantages in terms of starting to make connections with the faculty and really help facilitate what your PhD might look like. And definitely in terms of letters of recommendation and figuring out what lab you might be a good fit in, but you do still have to formally apply to the PhD program if you want to be considered for it. I see a question related to scholarships for master's students. So yes, I do want to point out that scholarship decisions are made separately from admission decisions. So even though you received an admission letter and there was no scholarship information, that's something we kind of manage separately. All scholarship decisions for master's students will be issued by April 1st. The majority of candidates have already been contacted if they are in consideration and were invited to the next round of review. But we will be sending all scholarship notifications out by April 1st. So just be aware of that. In terms of assistantships, I know in most cases, graduate assistantships are reserved for PhD students in terms of research or teaching assistantships. I don't know if there are any exceptions, Professor Hodge, as master's student.
Yeah, so we have a third category called course producers. So a course producer is between a TA, so it's not, and so what they do is course producers could be, let's say we have Chemi 465 is I forgot what the title of the class is, but is one of the computational classes. And so a lot of the times, or for senior design, we have course producers. So you do see the students, you come and help with the software. So those are opportunities to work as a course producer. We usually have 3 or 4, or maybe sometimes even 5 course producers per semester. And those are students that have taken a similar class or a previous class, or they just took the class that we need. So they do some grading, but they also meet with the students or help hands-on with a lot of the computational classes or simulation classes for both Chemi and Math Sci. So those are mostly some of the roles that our master students work. And also there's some opportunities to work in the Chemi undergraduate labs. We do have several kind of, I don't know what the official title is. So they are lab assistants. We usually have 3 or 4, or maybe up to 5. And those tend to be master students that want hands-on and help out, like set up all the labs, run the labs for all the different Chemi undergraduate classes. So we usually do have some of those as well. I think the title is lab assistants. So lab assistants and course producers, we have that. Also, the students in our main office or student workers are also from the department because we want to make sure they see a familiar face. And so they're here all the time and we get to know them quite well. So it's not a gazillion opportunities, but there are several opportunities in that department, depending on your expertise and whether you want to teach or be hands-on in the lab. And again, more connection to the department and the people in the department.
Wonderful, thank you. How can a student become a course producer or lab assistant?
Yes. So when so that goes to at the beginning of the semester, you look at the classes, and especially maybe not your first semester, but once you're taking some classes here, we can look. Sometimes I'm really missing a lot of people, so we send blasts to the students and say, hey, we're looking at course producer that you have taken this class that I'm missing, or for example, or lab technician is already looking for 2 students for the summer to start training them in the summer, to start in the fall. And so they do get paid hourly wages during the summer to get trained, and then they help with the labs in the summer and during the fall, and start training the other ones. So you can connect with our student advisors. You can connect, but again, priority is given to students in our department for those kind of things. We start, for example, I'm the one in charge of the TA and course producer assignments. So when I start doing that, that will be sometime in August. And then we'll start sending blasts because we usually always short of people. Again, mostly for labs and the computational classes for undergrads.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, great. I think we responded to a lot of the questions. Thank you so much for your time, Professor Hodge. This was wonderfully insightful. I'm going to go ahead and invite Brenda to join us, who will be moderating the student panel and introducing our student panelists. Professor Hodge, we know how busy you are, so feel free if you need to exit. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to stay and listen.
So, I just want to say before we take off that in this department, unlike many other schools, our master students are part of our ecosystem. So you're not just a master student, you are one of our students and probably a future colleague or professor. Many of our students do really, really well. And so you are invited to everything and you are part of everything. And I want to make sure that you know that. And the input and the care that we put into our master students is the same that we put into all of our students. But then because you don't have a direct PhD advisor, let's say, because you're a master's student, sometimes it takes a little more legwork in your part. But if you come here, I encourage you to come, introduce yourself, say, hey, I met you in that, at the intro event, and you answer our questions and come and really engage. And we will try to help you. Anyone that asks for help, we will try to match them up or find something, but you need to let us know, and we're more than happy to and willing to help. So with that, I hope to see you here in the fall. Fight on and come and Mork on. All right.
Thank you so much. Those are very nice words. Okay, wonderful. Brenda, are you here with me?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi everyone. My name is Brenda. I am one of the student services advisors, and I'm here to help guide the student panel. So these are our current students. They're going to speak a little bit about their experience. So I have questions for them, but if you all have questions for them, feel free. Is it okay to use the Q&A chat function for this as well?
Okay. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so feel free to use that as well, and we can have some of our student panelists answer these questions. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and we can use the order that's on this PowerPoint presentation. So if we can start with me, if you can say your name, your major, your hometown, and why did you choose USC?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Meet Damani. I'm a master's student in chemical engineering. I'll be graduating this May 2023. And I chose USC because it was one of my top priority. I searched about the faculty, and I think that most of the faculty was something that I was really interested in. The research that they were doing, it was aligning with what I wanted. And hence I went with USC, and I think that's a great decision that I made.
Oh, is it me?
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. So my name is Zhuochen Huang. You can call me Leo for short. I'm from Changsha City, which is the capital of Hunan Province, a province in the middle southern part of China. I chose USC due to its great renown and a unique location. So USC is in Los Angeles, one of the most vibrant and diverse cities in the world, and also is a home to a hub for tech and entrepreneurship. For reputation is also a top priority of my choices. And yes, it's also research programs and home to many world-renowned faculty members. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prathamesh Kotkar, and I'm from the Chemical Engineering Department. So I'm from Mumbai, so I hope there will be a lot of students from Mumbai. So the major reason for choosing USC was its diverse courses that it offers. Mostly, like, you get the opportunity to select courses not only from the chemical department, but I guess from the material science and the petroleum department, and even the management courses. So that was one of my criteria to get into USC, like to see like if I can broaden my horizon from chemical engineering to other departments. So, and also the second reason was the location, Los Angeles, because I guess it's a great hub, and I guess you get a lot of opportunities and the beaches and the mountains that Los Angeles brings. So yeah, that's my reason to choose USC. Thank you.
Yeah, hello to everyone here. First, congratulations on getting an admit. I'm Suraj, and I'm pursuing my Master's of Science in Chemical Engineering. And I'm from Bangalore, India. And the reason why I chose USC was the research that is being conducted was a direct extension of where I wanted to go from my undergraduate project, and the coursework that is provided for us to pursue was aligning with my interests. So that was one of the main reasons why I chose USC. Plus the location, just as Prathamesh mentioned, you can't beat Californian weather. So yeah.
Great. Thank you all so much for that great introduction. As you can see, USC being located in LA is one of the several reasons we heard why they chose USC. But I also have other questions related to first academics. So whoever would like to share, feel free to do so from our panelists. But can you share a little bit about what classes are like for you? Like, how demanding is the coursework? And then maybe share a little bit about your favorite class and why it's your favorite class.
Okay, I think I'll do it first. So class difficulty is moderate. All professors are easygoing, but know that difficulty increase gradually. For this semester, all my courses are diving deeper and harder. So I'm talking about an average feeling for this semester and last semester. All my courses till this point are recorded, and I can access the recordings at any time, which is really convenient for me to go back and review some chapters. So coursework is not that demanding. It's up to you how deeper you want to dive in. Coursework itself is not hard, and exams are pretty friendly. But if you want to, let's say, publishing an article, then you have to study for it. So one of my favorite course is Material Science 503, primarily because Professor Polo Brandisio is so nice. And this course is kind of like a pathway between things I learned in the undergrad and the new things, the new knowledge I need in the future research. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to share a little bit about classes or their favorite class? Okay, I have a question about how has this program helped you with your career goals? Anybody want to share a little bit about their career goals and how this program specifically has helped them with them?
I think I can take that. There are certain courses, I think, as Professor Hodge also mentioned, which is like material science. You can take either or, even if you are a chemical major, as I am a chemical major, but I can take courses such as material science. I can take courses from petroleum, as far as you have background knowledge in that course. I did take one of the course, which is solid state. Another course that was there is machine learning in material science. So there are various courses that are available, which can help you out even after your graduation for your jobs hunt as well.
Also, there are courses in, just to add to Meet's point, there are courses in thermodynamics, the basic fundamental required courses like transport phenomena modeling that is widely used in several industries, and these lay the foundation on what you want to do. Plus the added electives, like you can lay direction, like for machine learning that was mentioned. I'm taking MASC 515 from the material science department. So if you're interested in that field, there are several options that you can explore.
Thank you. And on that note, have any of you gotten involved in research or jobs or internships while your time at USC?
I can share that. So for as for my experience, it's pretty straightforward. Currently, I'm working in Professor Branish's group as a MS student. So how I get involved is like I did some investigation about all professors from Viterbi School. I read the profiles from faculty page and read their journal articles to see if I can do something or am I interested in their projects. So finally, I chose Professor Bernicio. I went straight to him with my resume. After several talks, he accepted me. So yes, right now I'm working in his group and doing a molecular dynamic simulation.
Similarly, I'm working as a master's student. I'm working in Professor Tsotsis's lab. So the work that we're working on is absorption and desorption studies for CO2, and so this is what we're currently working on. This was like a direct extension of my undergraduate project, and I wanted to further dwell into research. So yeah.
Yeah. So adding to Suraj's point, so I worked for a few months in Professor Brent Mellow's lab. So this was something like a few of the students will be interested in going in the lithium-ion battery sector. Like, so from chemical engineering, you get a shift towards learning more about electrochemistry. So I got that opportunity to study that at USC because so my major was chemical engineering, but my interest was in batteries. So I got that opportunity at Professor Brent Mellow's lab. And then also USC has this resume review. So I think that was one of the things that we have at USC. We have the VMOC thing that scores your resume and helps you build up your resume. So that is one of the things that helped me secure an internship while at USC. So yeah, I'm currently working at DECRA, so as an intern.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing about your career goals and your internship experiences or what labs you've been involved in. Are you involved in any clubs or organizations at USC? Can you talk a little bit about the clubs or organizations that you're involved in?
So I was a mentor in the last semester. I think it was mentioned in one of the slides where I would help other newly joining mentees and I can guide them through. I also took part in several other events. I did work with VGSA to organize a couple of events in the summer. And apart from that, I have my on-campus in the Mork family department. So I am working with the professors really closely in that department as well.
Great, thank you, Meet. So now we're going to talk a little bit about housing or campus life in general. You all mentioned, or most of you mentioned, LA was one of the reasons why you chose USC. Can you share a little bit about what there is to do in LA or like what you do for fun as a master's student?
Okay, I can share that. So there are lots of things to do. I went to Universal and Disneyland. I went to some museums like natural history museums, I think. I went to Malibu Beach to watch a sunrise with friends, sing karaoke with friends, exploring delicious restaurant and hang out. And that's basically what I do for fun. Thank you.
Yeah, so in Los Angeles, like it's one of the very few places, I guess, where you can do the mountains and the beaches the same day, because I guess that is one of the things that Los Angeles has. And also there are a lot of restaurants to try in, because there are a lot of different cuisines that you can try in LA, and obviously a lot of places to visit during the weekends. And I guess if you have a car or drive, you can go to most of the places that are nearly about just 2 hours drive from from USC.
Just as the others mentioned, the beaches, yeah, Santa Monica, Venice Beach, Huntington Beach, yeah, those are my favorites. And if you're adventurous, there's Six Flags if you'd like it. Yeah, so these are a few, and the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So yeah.
Yeah, I think LA is very well connected in that way. There's a lot of public mode of transport available. If you don't have a car, you can always take the public mode of transport. There's the Hollywood sign, the very famous Hollywood sign, the Beverly Hills, which is really close by. It takes a little more time than if you have a personal car, but nonetheless, you'll reach your destination, and that's more important.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. And can you all share a little bit about your, like, do you feel safe around campus? How did you find your housing or your roommates? Do you have any tips for incoming students on how to go about that?
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead. So around campus, around UPC, so we have like a 2-mile radius that is protected by, but that is in the DPS zone. So there's always like patrol cars that are always there. Then you have DPS officers. So it is generally safe. Yeah. And housing. So for housing, like I went through like a few of my contacts, like a few of my seniors were here. So I had help. You also have resources that are provided by USC that really helped me like networking. So we had the meet and greet event. So met a lot of my roommates through that process as well.
Okay, so like Sraj mentioned, I would say during the day it's pretty safe on and around campus, but during the night, it's better to hang out with friends or use a vehicle. And if you are concerned with your safety, please use the LifeSafe app and save the number of Department of Public Safety. And if you find someone suspicious on campus, you can report to DPS and also request an escort. So as for housing, I must acknowledge the effort made by CSA. We have a WeChat group that is run and maintained by CSA. They kind of verify everyone's identity and make sure they're not fraud. So I posted my info there and found my roommate. So as for the apartments, I made decisions together with my roommate. He listed some apartments around USC and we chose it. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I have one last question for you all, and I invite you all to share. What advice would you give future Viterbi students?
Yeah, I can start about this. So the most important thing I would say in this 2 years, like for your masters, it's networking. If you are able to build a good network, I guess you can actually take a lot from these 2 years at USC.
Also, to be proactive, you'll have several opportunities, and you have to be proactive and pursue those opportunities according to your interest.
I could go next. I would say that if you want to be close to the group, you might need to, as Professor Hodge mentioned, there's a lot of events in which there are professors. They might have individual professors, like coffee chats or tea chats or Babel chats. You can just go meet the professor, ask him, hey, I'm up for this research work. If you are interested, and if you can help me out with the same, if there is something, if you need any help, I am always up for that. And they'll really help you out. Like I asked for myself as a research assistant under Professor Jaikan. He was really helpful to help me out with whatever I needed. So yeah, definitely you can just go ask the professors and they'll definitely help you.
All right. So I would say see the master program as a pathway to industry or your PhD program. It feels more like a connecting point rather than an endpoint. Plan accordingly. What means is that if you want to go direct into industry, do investigations, prepare for the certificate test that is appreciated by the industry, find the internship. In the meanwhile, utilize every resource that at USC is offered to help you. And also for all professors, they're really supportive. They're really kind. Just ask them, like, if you want to apply for something, ask them about their opinions and so forth and so on. Thank you.
Great, thank you all so much. These were all the questions I had. I don't know if I see any in the Q&A chat box. I don't see any, but if there are any, feel free to put them in the chat.
Don't be shy, everyone. You've heard what amazing resources these students are. So please, if there's anything that we didn't address today that you were hoping we would answer, feel free to put that in the Q&A. Now's a great time. I'm going to take a moment to go back to the slide about our ambassadors so you all know how to contact some of these students after today's session. I do see some questions. Is there a disadvantage to being an online student? Are any of you pursuing the program online? I think you're all on-campus students, right?
Yeah, I'm on campus.
On campus.
Okay, Brenda, do you want to tackle that question?
I don't think there's any disadvantages. I think it's really up to you and the experience that you want. If you're interested to learn a little bit more about our online and DEN program, to be completely honest, I would have to talk a little bit more with my team about it, just because I'm fairly new and I'm not too familiar, but we definitely want to get your questions answered about the program. So if you do, I will put my email in the chat and you can connect with me directly about a little bit more about the DEN program.
Thank you. And I just want to add that even as a Dept Viterbi student, you are being part of all the classes that are happening on campus. And there are a lot of ways that you can be interactive with the faculty, with your peers in the classroom, as well as other fellow online students. If you're close to campus, you are welcome to come on campus and take the class in person. You're certainly invited to all the events that we have available to all of our students. And of course, you have the advantage of having all the lectures and all of those materials available to you come exams. That's incredibly helpful. So I know that our DEN community also has a lot of support services and ways to very much feel part of the university as well. We have time for maybe one or two final questions.
I think I'll just like to add up that this is not the end. If anyone wants to connect, I can just leave my email in the chat box and you can always reach out to me with whatever resources I can help. I can always be available.
Thank you so much. I just want to then take this time to thank everybody for their time today. All of our wonderful student panelists, your fantastic advice. You guys say it so much better than we ever could. And you're just wonderful, wonderful resources and representatives of USC. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Brenda, for moderating that wonderful student panel. Thank you to Professor Hodge for her time and welcome to the department. to my team for helping with the Q&A, and for all of you who are joining us from all over, who are officially part of the Trojan family now. We cannot wait to welcome you this fall to the USC campus and to Los Angeles. We are here for you if you have any questions after today. This recording will be posted on the admitted student webpage. You have some of our contact information in the chat. Please take care, stay safe, and we'll see you this fall. Bye, on.